Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. It is Friday, February 9th. And man, I'm glad to see all of y'all. We've got a big crowd today, a lot of smiling faces, and a lot of good friends here. If you would, please help me introduce Dr. Rachel Capua, VP of External Operations and Dean, Tarleton State University, for our invocation, followed immediately after by past President Doug Briley playing the national anthem. Please rise with me.
Good afternoon. If you'll please bow your heads with me. Dear Lord, creator and sustainer of all that is or will ever be, please accept our deep thanks for this special day and its many blessings. We kindly ask that you guide and direct our club, its leaders, our community, and all of those who have joined us today. We also extend our great gratitude to you for this group of people and for the opportunity to serve our city, our country, and indeed all countries and all peoples, all who walk through these very doors. Bless our fellowship today, dear Lord, and bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies in your service. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Dr. Capua. Next up is John Wright, President, Simple Leadership Strategies, with our visitor welcome. John, come on up.
Thank you, President Captain Kirk. It's my honor to say welcome to all of you Rotarians and the guests that you have invited. Guests, when I mention your name, if you would please stand up. Rotarians, I would ask you to hold your applause till we introduce them all. Save it for the end. Jim Parr is brought Steve Relier. Perry Pillow, Eric Bachman. Eric. Ed McGlynn, Chip Schweiger. Hi, Chip. Sean Snell brought Todd Amos and Zoran Luttrell. Greetings. Randall Howard has two guests, Randito Howard and Carrie Hood Chechu. Jason Byrne, Ryan Sherar. Forget that thing about holding the applause. Rosa Berdija, Edward Mickelson, Shauna Salana, two guests, DeJero Chatterson and Sandra Garcia. And Ricky McBride, guest, Barry Hickle. Welcome. And Jason Ellis brought Kevin Cornelius. Welcome, guests. We hope you'll join us again.
Thank you, John. Now it's time for a thank you to our sponsor. Today's sponsor is Orion Healthcare Advisory. Chris Kelly brought us that. Orion Healthcare Advisory provides legal consulting and business advisory services to physicians and healthcare facilities. The group primarily helps doctors monetize their practices by partnering with private equity firms. They also help provide outside general counsel services to multiple healthcare providers and businesses. And now, it's time for our four-way test. To all the visitors in the room, I'll wait. Thank you. To all the visitors in the room, the Rotary four-way test is something that as Rotarians, we strive to use as kind of a filter for everything that we think, say, or do. If it doesn't meet the test, well, we try not to think, say, or do those things. That being said, please recite along with me. Number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Number three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Number four, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Now, for a moment, we're going to set that aside, and I'd like to introduce past president, assistant city manager for the city of Fort Worth, and esteemed, very renowned newscast giver, Fernando Costa. Fernando, come on up.
Thank you, President Kirk. Thank you, folks. I feel about as welcome as a 49ers fan in Taylor Swift's Skybox on Sunday. But this isn't about my feelings. It's about the news of the week. So here we go. In business news this week, radio broadcasting giant Odyssey has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in a Houston court. Nobody seems to have known about it, however, because the company announced it only on the radio. The brewers of Miller Lite have announced that they're launching a new line of beer-flavored mints. That's right. And if that venture goes well, they might soon be offering beer-flavored beer. For Valentine's Day next week, Starbucks is introducing two new romantic drinks: a chocolate-covered strawberry cream frappuccino and a chocolate hazelnut cookie cold brew. And like your first Valentine, these rich drinks will break your heart. If you've been to a movie theater lately, then you may recall a gray pinstripe suit that Nicole Kidman wore last year in a popular AMC pre-film ad. Well, Sotheby's auction house is now auctioning that suit for $10,000. Or you can use that same amount at the movie theater to buy a large popcorn and Coke. And speaking of auctions, Heritage Auctions announced this week that a man had won a near-perfect original copy of the Amazing Spider-Man comic book for a bid price of $1.4 million. Wow. According to the man's wife, well, of course, he doesn't have a wife. In crime news this week, the U.S. Coast Guard has seized nearly 25,000 pounds of cocaine in the Caribbean Sea. Patrol boat crews had initially become suspicious when they noticed that all the fish were flying fish. Law enforcement officials in New Jersey recently discovered that a service station there was selling gasoline consisting of nearly 60% water. which is especially disturbing because in New Jersey, not even the water is 60% water. In the wake of last month's Alaska Airlines incident, Emirates Airline President Sir Tim Clark told the Financial Times this week that Boeing must urgently improve its safety record and, quote, "This is the last chance saloon." Boeing CEO David Calhoun said in response that his company is implementing a new quality control plan and assured his customers that if they want to talk about it, his door is always blown open. In other airline news, a federal court has found a Russian man guilty of being a stowaway after he flew from Copenhagen to Los Angeles last fall without a ticket. The man faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison, or worse, a return flight on Alaska Airlines. And authorities have arrested a Philadelphia woman on a Frontier Airlines flight for assault and indecent exposure after she got into a fight over bathroom access. Frontier says that such behavior is unacceptable and has demoted her to co-pilot. In politics, 84-year-old Maryland Congressman Steny Hoyer has announced that he'll be seeking re-election this year. Steny Hoyer, you know that someone has reached an advanced age when their own name has become extinct. On the topic of aging, a 90-year-old woman has made history by graduating from UNT with a master's degree, or at least that's what we think they meant when they announced that she had passed. In sports, a racehorse in Cleveland has tested positive for methamphetamine. So now we know the origin of the popular household product, Crazy Glue. And TCU baseball opens the 2024 season next weekend with a 3-game home series against Florida Gulf Coast. Preseason polls consistently place the Horned Frogs in the national top 10, followed closely by Texas A&M. Speaking of which, 2 Aggies were walking down the street when they saw a sign reading "Luxury Cruise, $100. They went inside to sign up, but they were promptly knocked over the head, robbed, taken out back, and thrown into a river. As they drifted slowly downstream, one of the Aggies asked, "I wonder if they serve drinks on this cruise." And the other replied, "I don't know, they did last year." The weather this weekend should be mild with a good chance of rain, regardless of the forecast. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. And until we meet again, may the good Lord hold you in the palm of his hand. Have a good weekend.
Great job, Fernando. Wow, as always, you never disappoint, sir. All right, Chris Jordan, come on up. Founding steward, Electroacoustics, Inc. Chris Jordan, you have an announcement for us, right? Bring it.
It has just been a great week for the Rotary Minority Business Award. So we have over 100 nominations. So that's the highest we've ever had. And those nominations are being converted to applications, and we'll have the highest number of applications that we've ever had. So it's been a really good week. Those applications need to be completed by next Thursday. So as good as that news is, TCU has partnered with us, with the RMBA, thank you, Daniel, to provide a mentoring partnership program. So they're going to provide the expertise in the Neely School of Business with one of the winners to come alongside to help with things like pricing, business ideas, just a real collaborative partnership. And that by itself is worth $5,000. So thank you, TCU. Not to be outdone, UTA, their executive business program, is going to provide at least 3 $15,000 scholarships to the winners for their, as the scholarship towards their EMBA program. Just found out about this last couple of days, so more details to follow. They've also given a $2,500 donation to the RMBA program. So we've got all the nominations we need. We've got great partners. We've got great applications, great companies that are coming along. We've got about $20,000 in total sponsorships. So we're about $5,000 short, but you guys know where I am, so come see me, and we'll get that done. So thank everybody so much for your partnership. It's going to be the best program we've ever had this year. So thank you guys very, very much.
Thank you, Chris. And Carlo, what year did this start? Chris?
3.5 years ago.
In 3.5 years, we've gone from a fledgling program that was truly just a spark in the imagination of these guys right here, Chris especially. Carlo carried it forward, and y'all massaged this thing out, and we're over 100. What was our first year? How many do we have?
So we had
Nominations.
60.
Okay. But look at what we've created, and I will tell you, this is the talk of the town throughout Rotary in all of the United States. This program that these gentlemen started, that we've worked up, is blowing up. Other Rotary clubs are taking this idea and running with it. So kudos to y'all. Thank you very much. Next up, Secretary Maddie Compton, retired U.S. Attorney, for a first reading. Come on up, Madam.
Good afternoon. We have one first reading today. The proposed member is Charles Chip Schweiger. His title is founder and managing partner of Schweiger CPA firm PLLC. His classification is accounting services, and his proposer is Ed McLean. If no written objections are received in the Rotary office by February the 16th, this proposal will be given second readings and voted on by the club.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Now we have 2 new member introductions. Connie Blake, come on up and bring your new member. Past President Carlo Capio, you are on deck with yours.
Hello, everyone. I am thrilled to introduce my friend Howard Altshuler as a new member of our Rotary Club of Fort Worth. Howard is a partner with Weaver. Everybody knows who Weaver is, where he leads the real estate and construction practice. He's been there for about 4 years, and last June he was transferred to Fort Worth. This real estate and construction practice is so impressive. He leads about 150 colleagues from coast to coast, and they provide accounting, tax advisory, and a wide range of services to real estate companies, real estate funds, and construction companies. Prior to that, he had a very long career with E&Y, spending time in Dallas, Houston, and Shanghai. I bet there's some stories. Maybe he'll tell us about one of those. Howard and I actually met in this room, I think it was at that table right over there at an Urban Land Institute event. It was probably maybe 2 years ago, right after COVID. And we would see each other from time to time at various real estate functions. Well, when he was transferred over to Fort Worth, he asked me, well, how can I become part of the Fort Worth community? What do you think I said? Rotary Club, right? So here he is. He graduated from the University of Houston, the C.T. Bauer College of Business, but he did marry a horned frog. He and his wife Cecily live in Flower Mound, have one child, and are expecting their first grandchild soon. He enjoys cooking, reading, golf, and bicycling. You might tell something about bicycling. Okay. Howard, welcome to Rotary Club of Fort Worth.
Thank you, Connie. Appreciate the introduction. Also appreciate everything you've done for me to make me feel at home here in Fort Worth, as well as with Rotary. Really happy to be part of this organization. It's a long line of people from Weaver who have been and are in the club. In fact, I feel like almost everybody here knows Lloyd Weaver, who's one of our founders, except for maybe me. So we'll see what we can do about that. But everyone's really made me feel very much at home. Everyone's been super friendly, and I really appreciate all that. Looking forward to spending more time with the club, being able to help participate with the activities, both in the meeting as well as out in the community, and getting to know people better. Happy to share Shanghai stories, maybe over coffee or maybe an adult beverage at some point on a one-to-one basis. But one thing I do want to mention today, Connie had mentioned some of my hobbies, activities, and one of the things I do like to do is bicycle riding. I actually got out for the first time this year yesterday, so felt pretty good about that, although legs are a little tight this morning. But one of the things that I do is every year we have the Hotter Than Hell 100 event up in Wichita Falls, and I've participated in that for the last 13 years. I've done the 100-mile ride 4 times, and then some of the shorter rides the rest of the times.
There you go, Howard. New member package. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, there's your badge. All right.
Oh, careful. Thank you, Mr. President. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Mr. John Burke. He's the president of Quantum Executive, an executive technology consulting firm located right here in Fort Worth. John was the co-founder and partner in Ambit Energy. Many of you probably know, a retail energy company based out of Dallas. Ambit grew to $1 billion, billion with a B, $1 billion in sales in 7 years, operated in 98 markets across the US, Canada, and Japan, and in 2019, Ambit sold to Vistra Energy, formerly TXU, for $475 million. So stay away, he was my friend first. John is happily married to his wife, Faith, and the father of 5 children. Please help me welcome Mr. John Burke.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you for that welcome. I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you. I love community. They asked for me to say something interesting. Actually from upstate New York, Utica, New York. Any people from Utica or close to Utica? Oh, well, it's up there. Moved down to New York City after high school on my own to start a rock band, and struggled and failed. And so I went back to school in New Jersey. We were just talking about New Jersey. Drink a lot of water. economics degree at Rutgers, and then I went up to Boston. I was involved in the investment industry and got into software. And then I was drawn to Texas by the University of Texas in Austin. I went to the MBA program there and loved it. And as soon as I got out, I tried starting companies. So I started up in Dallas, a telecom billing company that failed. And then I started a consulting company that failed. And then eventually I stumbled upon Ambit Energy, which was a blessing. So thank you for your welcome, and hope to get to meet all of you one-on-one.
All right, both of you know the drill. You've been to the orientation. Turn those red badges to blue quickly. All right, thank you. Now, it's the main event. I'd like to introduce our chairman of the day, Mr. Mike Herman, COO, Whitley Penn. Come on up and tell us about our speaker.
Thank you, President Kirk. Well, hello, friends and fellow Rotarians. I'm going to summarize Coach Sarlos's 3-page bio that was in the rotograph and share some other things that were omitted. Coach Sarlos pitched at Cal State Fullerton. From there, he began his Major League Baseball playing career after being drafted in 2001 by the Houston Astros. He subsequently returned to Cal State Fullerton in 2011 as the team's pitching coach. He arrived at TCU in 2012 and was named head coach in 2021. Some big achievements. During his time with TCU, the team has achieved 6 conference regular and season and tournament championships, as well as 4 College World Series appearances, including last year. He's the Big 12 Coach of the Year. He was the first Big 12 Coach of the Year to receive that honor in his first season, if you will, as head coach. As a Major League Baseball pitcher, he had his best year in 2005. That year, he pitched 159 2/3 innings and had a winning streak from May 30th to August 13th of 50 wins and 17 losses. I mentioned this since the Oakland A's and soon to be the Las Vegas A's 2005 season was the subject of Michael Lewis's famous book, Moneyball. Kirk is mentioned in this book for the action on his pitches. Coach Sarlos is married to Kristen. They have a son and 2 daughters. The Sarlos' name is also associated with an outstanding wine. Coach Sarlos' brother operates the Sarlos & Sons Winery in Santa Barbara, California. And now, so that I don't become the program, please give a round of applause to welcome Coach Kurt Sarlos.
Well, thank you very much for having me. This is the second time I've been to a Rotary Club. The first time was in Omaha, Nebraska. This one is like, where's Captain Kirk at? He left. Captain Kirk, you're right. This is the best Rotary Club in the country. My one question, though, is how come Aggies are always at the butt of jokes, Captain Kirk? Because they're Aggies. A couple of things in the bio. I wish I went 50-17 over a 3-month span as a pitcher in the big leagues. I still would be pitching. Yeah, made my big league debut in 2000. First of all, sorry for anybody that's heard me speak over the last 2 days. My speaking tour started yesterday. I think President Pullen was there at the Legends Exchange yesterday, and then this morning, across the hall, we had breakfast clubs. I see a couple faces from this morning, so sorry if you've heard some of the things I'm talking about, but 2001 was drafted and signed by the Houston Astros. Just a little quick, interesting story about that was in 2002, AA All-Star break, I decided I was gonna get married to my then fiance. I tried to get married 1 year earlier, but her dad said, no, thank you. And the only way you can get married to my daughter is if you take on the responsibility of her tuition her senior year. And I said, no thanks, I'll wait a year. So in 2002, like most Major League Baseball players, they decide, hey, let's get married at the AA All-Star break. I was in minor league baseball. right? You get 3 days off for AA All-Star break. Luckily enough, I pitched well enough in the first half of the season that I was going to be the AA starting pitcher in the All-Star game. I had to obviously decline. Headed up to Seattle, Washington, where my wife is from, on a Friday. We were going to get married on a Sunday. I got a call from our general manager from the Houston Astros on Saturday, and he asked me if I could be in Milwaukee on Monday. And me having no idea what he was going to tell me, I said, well, I guess I could be. I'm getting married, as you know, on Sunday, but I guess I could be there Monday. Well, he said, good, because you're starting your big league debut against the Milwaukee Brewers on Tuesday. So I went from really nervous about Sunday to that being really easy and more nervous about Tuesday. And I don't know how many in here has spent their honeymoon in Milwaukee? Anybody? Nobody. And the other thing about that is the hotel that you stay in Milwaukee is widely known around Major League Baseball as haunted. It's called the Pfister Hotel. So if anybody ever goes to Milwaukee, never stay in the Pfister Hotel, it's haunted. So that's how my marriage got off to a start. Stayed in a haunted hotel and then got the loss the next day against the Milwaukee Brewers. So I was 1-0. I'm still 1-0 because I married an unbelievable wife. We've been married 21 years. Kristen is a phenomenal wife, mother. The wife of a baseball coach and a baseball player is very difficult. And she does it with grace. She does it with a ton of selflessness. And it's really almost being like a single mom, to be honest with you, just because of the time that baseball demands of us. And so our kids are the way they are because of her, not me, probably in spite of me. But yeah, my wife is phenomenal, and she's a big supporter of not only me, but my profession, and she's a big influence on our team. She's almost like a second mother to the guys because obviously their moms aren't around. She's their mother during the season and during the school year. So, but the other thing about Aggies, since we're telling jokes about Aggies, you know, we're playing in a tournament in the third week of the year against Arizona State, USC, and then A&M. But for whatever reason, A&M doesn't want to play us, so they're ducking us. So we're not going to be able to play them in that tournament. So might have to bring that up with somebody in the higher ups over there in A&M, Captain Kirk. You get on that one for us. But no, in terms of our season, we're really excited. Obviously, the preseason polls have come out. We're ranked, I think, top 5, maybe 5 in 2 polls, number 6 in the other 2, which is great in terms of from the outside. From the inside, in our locker room, we've talked about it one time, and the main thing is that really it gets you absolutely nothing in terms of the other team's best shot. It doesn't give you an extra run to start a game. All it does is put expectations on what others think you should do. And for us, all we're concerned about is going out and playing the best that we can play every single game. And we talk a lot about sticking to the process and sticking to what is going to ultimately help us win games, and that's playing together as a unit. And the wins will take care of themselves. So it's fun for the fans. It's not so fun for a head coach, trying to make sure you keep 18 to 21-year-olds level-headed and not read their press clippings too much. But we do have a talented group. We have a team that really likes to work. We have 40 guys on our team. If you don't know, we only get 12 scholarships. So we have 28 guys in some form or fashion paying their own way to come to TCU. So how do they do that? They do that by being great students, maybe getting some academic scholarship, maybe getting some financial aid. But just so you know, baseball is the most underly funded sport in all of college athletics. If you think about it, basketball has 15 players, 13 scholarships. Football obviously has 100 players, 85 scholarships. Baseball gets 11.7 for 40. A lot of that is finance. Football and basketball bring in a lot of money, but also there's a lot of the real true champions of our program and of baseball players' programs are all the families, the moms and dads that put in a lot of money for their kids to go to school. And so what do we have to do to repay them is we every single day have to work hard with them to make sure that we're giving them the best possible 4 years of their life. And that's why I got into college coaching, is because the best 4 years of my life was playing college baseball, because it's a unique time in your life, because you're 18 to 21, you're figuring out who you are, and baseball will teach you a lot about life, right? It parallels life, because life is not always rainbows and unicorns, and neither is baseball. And so our guys, and we learn a lot. And we go through a season. Last year, we were 23-20 at one point, and it wasn't so fun. And we kept plugging along, and we won 24 out of our last 25 and went to the College World Series for the programs. Let's see, we went in 2010. That was our 6th time since 2010. There's only one university in the whole country that can claim that they've been to more College World Series since 2010 than TCU, and that's the University of Florida. No other school in the country can say that. And I'm proud of the fact that we have 10,000 undergrad students at TCU, and it's not a huge public university, but we put a lot of emphasis in sports. And I think our administration, our athletic director, our athletic program, and our school values sports and what it can do for a community. You saw what it did in terms of the Rangers for our community of winning the national championship or the World Series this year. My goal for our team is to do that same exact thing and bring one back for our first ever national championship this year. But that's a long way in the future. 1 week from today, Florida Gulf Coast at home, Friday night at 6:30 p.m. We open up. We'll have 33 home baseball contests, which is we're usually in 25 to 26, 27 home games. This year we have 33. Because in my opinion, I don't like to travel. And I'd rather play at home in front of our great fan base. And so that's why we did it. We try to play as much as we possibly can at home so our fans can enjoy watching us play. Hopefully we end up back in Omaha this coming year, but I kind of really wanted to open it up to you guys to be able to ask any sort of question that you have for me in terms of TCU baseball, college athletics, the transfer portal, NIL, if any of you guys know what any of that means. I barely do sometimes, but I'd like to open it up for you guys to ask any questions that you have of me. Go right ahead.
Well, how is that affecting baseball, NIL?
Well, NIL stands for name, image, likeness. And actually, it started off, there's one of the players on the basketball team, his name is Charles O'Bannon Jr. on TCU's basketball team. His uncle, Ed O'Bannon, back in 1995 won a national championship at UCLA for basketball. And the next year they came, I think it was one of the Xbox or PlayStation came out with a basketball game for college baseball using his name, image, and likeness, and he was never paid for that. So he decided to sue the NCAA. And in return, 15, 20 years later, we now have name, image, and likeness, which means that student athletes can get paid for companies or people to be able to use their name, image, and likeness, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a great thing, especially for baseball, because like I said, we have 12 scholarships for 40 players. So when our guys get NIL, they're basically able to help pay for tuition, help pay for the cost to go to TCU. Most every one of our players have some sort of student debt when they leave school. And so this has the ability to offset that. The transfer portal, I think, is a good thing as well. It gives people opportunities to transfer and not have to sit out. Now, there's some people that take advantage of it. You know, I think there was one quarterback that I'd seen had played for 5 different universities in 7 years. And so it's turning into almost like free agency in professional sports. And so that part I don't like, but at least it gives the power to the student athlete a little bit more. And what it does is, in my opinion, if you don't treat your student athletes the right way, they're more likely to leave and go find and look for greener pastures. So it's on us to make sure that we're giving them the best opportunity to have the 4 most amazing years that they can possibly have being a student athlete. And that's part of the promise that we give the families that we give them when they come to TCU.
How many of your starters are returning this year versus last year? How many did you lose, and what's your prospect?
Well, we lose our whole infield except our shortstop. So our shortstop is a returning All-American, but we lose a first-round draft pick at 3rd, and then 2 draft picks at 2nd and 1st. So we'll have a lot to fill in there, but we feel like we have the guys in place, and ultimately, we had 4 freshman All-Americans last year who are back this year. And then we added what I think is one of the better transfer portal class. So now it's a matter of how they play together. And sometimes I think I know what an 18 to 21-year-old is going to do, and a lot of times I don't. So hopefully they come out and are ready to play next Friday. Yeah.
When it comes to success, all organizations say the same thing, right? Very few executives. And you say, do your best, play as a team, all that kind of stuff. How do you actually get them to do that?
Well, our core principles at TCU are selfless, excellence, and energy. So those are our core. Like if you ask anybody on our team right now, and you ask, hey, what is TCU about? They're going to say those 3 core values. If you ask a player from 2015 the same question, those 3 words will come up. And so what does that look like? We spend all of fall practice is spent not only practicing, but it's spent off the field in the classroom, trying to define and have them understand what it means to be a TCU baseball player, right? The first word is being selfless, which in this world, as we all know, it's a selfish world, right? Everybody's telling you to go get yours and be selfish and take care of number 1. Where in baseball, it's more about how can we be selfless, because there's only one pitcher pitching at a time. So when the other pitchers aren't pitching, how can you be selfless? How can you be selfless off the field? And trying to rewire 18 to 21-year-old kids' minds, to be honest with you, because it is. Life tells you to be very selfish. And so the first thing is being selfless as a group and as a team. The second one is striving for excellence in everything that we do, on the field, off the field, your faith in the classroom, being a good student, a good brother, a good son, eventually a good husband, a good father. Because everything that what our guys try to do is to strive to be the very best they can. Not all of our guys are 4.0 students, all right? We have our lug nuts. All right, we have our guys that aren't very good students, but the only thing that we ask of them is to be the very best that you can be. Put the best effort you could possibly put into that. We're gonna have some guys that get 4.0s. We're gonna have some guys that get 3.0s, but our academic excellence is 3.0 as a team. This year we had a 3.26 GPA as a team. And that was because the 4.0 guys took care of their job. The 2.75 guys, if that was their best effort, they took care of that. Just like there's different skill levels in baseball, there's different skill levels in the classroom. So I'm not asking the guy that maybe isn't able to be a 4.0 student to be one, because we're not setting him up to have success. We're giving him all the tools to make sure that we can give him the best opportunity to be the best student he can be. And then he's got to meet us halfway and decide that I want to be excellent, because the world tells you it's okay to be mediocre. And there's a lot of mediocre people that don't like to be around high achievers. And the high achieving people don't like to be around mediocre people. And so I feel like in our organization, we have a ton of high achievers so that the people that are just kind of being okay and getting by feel out of place. When it changes and it's the mediocre people that take over and the people that are excelling are the minority, we're in trouble. And so that's part of what we try and preach every single day in our program is excellence. And the last thing that we will not coach is energy, because that's a choice every single day. That when you wake up in the morning you have a choice of what kind of energy you're going to bring. When you walk through the door, when you walk into the classroom, when you meet somebody, when you shake somebody's hand, you have a decision to make in terms of what you're selling, because you're selling something every single day. And so they need to know that. And that's gonna, no matter if it's in baseball or if it's in business, if nobody wants to be around somebody that's sucking the energy out of the room. They want someone to be around that is bringing energy. When they walk in the room, people are excited to see that person. And so those 3 core values of selfless excellence and energy are the things that we spend just as much time on off the field as we do on the field. Because again, if we do that, I feel everything else will take care of itself on the field. Very, very few players that I've ever been around in professional baseball and in college baseball have been a low achiever off the field and a high achiever on the field. In my opinion, you strive for excellence in anything that you do, right? You are what you repeatedly do. So if you strive for that, you're gonna excel. It may not show up right away. It may not show up your freshman year, but if you stick with it and stick through the process, you're gonna be a champion, you're gonna be excellent, you're gonna be exactly what we want you to be once you leave our program. Because it's not the 4 years you're just here at TCU playing baseball. Our job is to make sure we're setting them up for success beyond baseball. This is just a tool in terms of that we get to teach. Sorry, that was a long answer to that question.
What makes a great coach?
Hiring great people, right? You said you started some businesses, right? It's about surrounding yourself with great people, because I definitely don't know everything 100%, but I have a staff in place around me that picks up the pieces that I may not be good at, they excel at, and making sure that we're all on the same page and we're all living the same core values that we're talking to our student athletes about living every single day. Because if we're asking them to be selfless, excellence, and have energy, and we're not doing those things, it doesn't mean anything. It's just words on a wall. So to be a great coach is know your limitations, hire great people, and be authentic and genuine every single day. Because not only 18 to 21-year-old kids, but pretty much everybody's gonna see through if you're not being true to who you really are.
Coach, I was telling you I'm at TC right now, and I grew up with Zach Boyer, and we still go to church.
Bless your heart.
And I've had class of baseball guys, and they work so hard on these projects, and so I truly see the excellence on and off the field. But I wanted to ask about the balance of the time management.
Yeah.
Like, what does a day in the life look like? Practice.
Yeah. Great question. It's 2 full-time jobs. When you go to college and you don't have that's why there's the Greek life, right? There's extracurricular activities beyond the classroom. Well, with baseball, right now our players, we're only allowed to practice with them 20 hours per week, right? That's the NCAA rule. We get 20 hours per week. But our guys are trying to play in the big leagues. So outside of those 20 hours, they're doing a lot of stuff on their own. Right, when they leave a normal day, for instance, today, Friday, they woke up, they had class from 8 until about 1 o'clock, and then they'll leave from there from 1 o'clock, they'll go straight over to the baseball field. We'll practice from about 2:30 to 6:30. We get 4 hours with them today. As soon as that's done, most guys will have study hall hours from 7 to 8:30. And then it's kind of wash, rinse, repeat, besides Saturdays and Sundays. So really, it's 2 full-time jobs. And so in the fall, it's a little bit different. They have a little bit more free time. And we don't, not that I know of, last year and the last couple of weeks, we've had 0 off-the-field incidents. But usually if there's gonna be something that happens, it's in the fall, not in the spring, because they have no time in the spring, all right? But we have such great kids that we don't have any problems off the field. But, like you said, Zach Collier, another great, went to Nolan Catholic, local kid, then went to McLennan Junior College and is now here at TCU. Another, he fits exactly what we, love to have in our program, and they definitely, it's a hard life. But it's one that's very rewarding for our guys, for sure.
I hear kids go on to be pros.
So how many of our guys go on to be professional baseball players? Last year, I think we had 7 guys drafted. The year before that, I think we had 9. One year, we had 11 or 12. I would say most of our guys, by the time their career's over at TCU, get an opportunity to play professional baseball. Sometimes that's not always the best choice for them. The funny story is, the better you were in college as a baseball player, the further along in life you fall behind. Perfect example, we had a bullpen catcher that all he did was catch bullpens. Did it for 4 years, graduated, got into the workforce. Next thing you know, 5 years, 6 years later, he's running his own company. The guy that was an All-American was a 2nd-round draft pick, made it up to AAA, tried to get to the big leagues. 7 years later after that, he goes back to the bullpen catcher and asks for a job. So a lot of times you gotta really weigh the difference between, am I really going all out for this, or am I ready to move on? And you can't ever tell a kid it's got to be, in their own heart, figure that out. But most of our guys get opportunities to do it. It's just really, really hard to get to the big leagues. And it's really hard once you get there to stay there. The easiest part is getting there. The hardest part is staying there. The average, I think, Major League Baseball career is about 3 years. So everybody thinks they're going to be the next Shohei Ohtani or Corey Seager and make $200, $300 million or $700 million, but there's not many out there that can do that. So,
What's your graduation rate?
so that's another great question. The tough thing about baseball is after your junior year, most of our guys are going to sign. So they don't really have a full 4 years to be able to graduate. I would say about 9 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10, so 80 to 90% of those guys will come back and finish. And again, the difference between tuition of a ball player that graduates or gets drafted in 2015 and then comes back in 2024 is a lot different. Because Major League Baseball tells you when you sign, they give you a lump sum and say, hey, we're going to pay for your last year of school. But that's frozen in time in 2015 when you sign. And with life and inflation and cost of attendance going up, next thing you know, it's a rude awakening 10 years later when I don't have that money to bridge the gap. And so that's where the baseball program steps in and helps out guys to finish. But most of our guys they spend a lot of time, effort, and money. Mom and dad and the kid for sure want to see the end of it.
Hey, Coach, congratulations so far on.
No, go right ahead. We'll get you next.
Congratulations on your success and best of luck for future success. Can you talk a little bit about recruiting, your philosophy for recruiting in college athletics, and then maybe what we in business can learn about recruiting from what you do in college?
Yeah, well, I think, for us in recruiting, it's about finding the right fit. And it might not be the most talented player. It's going to be the player that's talented that is the right fit. And so we spend a lot of time doing our research and on who we're recruiting, not only the kid, but the family. The first thing that we do when we look into finding a kid is we do probably what you guys do in business is the background check. We go right onto social media and see, what is this kid about? What's he posting about? What's he like? What does he quote? What does he tweet? Because that's all these kids do now. So I can go and I can learn a lot about a kid right away, and we won't recruit kids based on some of the questionable things that they'll do and say on social media. So the recruiting landscape it's never a perfect science, but I always feel the harder you work, the luckier you get. And that's our philosophy, man. If you outwork everybody, it's amazing how lucky you can end up. From the outside, people think you're pretty dang lucky.
So you were positive on NIL and the transfer portal, but if you could change something about either of those, what would you change?
I put some guardrails on NIL. What does that mean? The market is the market. So who knows what's going on? Nobody ever wants to really tell the secrets of their own program of what student athletes are making. But I do think there needs to be, we do a great job with the Neely School of Business with the NIL course of financial literacy, teaching these kids about, hey, you're able to make money through NIL, but what are you going to do with it? Do you understand that your Uncle Sam's going to want a piece of that? And you're going to have to save a little bit of money to pay your taxes? So to be able to educate these guys about finances, and not only when they're here, but when they get into professional baseball or whatever professional sport they play, I think is a big piece. We were kind of on the forefront of that with NIL and the Neely School of Business of having that class. And that's been a huge, huge positive for our guys of understanding kind of just the financial literacy piece of it. The transfer portal, for us, I don't think there needs to be a ton of change because ours happens in the off season in June and July. In football, it happens in a crazy time in bowl season. I don't know how they do it. So there needs to be some timing that needs to be changed. And then I'm not quite sure what you can do. The toothpaste is out of the tube in terms of the NIL. You can't put the toothpaste back in that tube. It is what it is. Are the NCAA going to step in or the states, are they going to step in and try and put some guardrails on it? I hope so, because it's really changing what college athletics is about from a amateur model to more of a professional model. But that's just kind of the way it's going. And with how much money is being made in college athletics, you know, it is almost kind of like a minor leagues to whatever sport it may be for professional.
Hi there, and looking at all your previews, it seems like the team has it all going on. Maybe not so many returning home runs, but who are you seeing as your power hitters?
Does anybody remember Lucan Baker? All right, so we have, so Lucan Baker, for those that, he's actually, his mom and dad went to A&M. Captain Kerr, he's gonna be all over me when I leave here. His mom and dad went to, but he was a 6'5", 275-pound two-way player. And so we have the left-handed version of that, Peyton Tolley. So Peyton's from Wichita, he's from Stillwater, Oklahoma, went to Wichita State the last 2 years. We got him out of the transfer portal. He'll be our Friday night starter and four-hole hitter. He's about 6'6", 260, and really, really talented young man, but an awesome young man. So we'll get some home runs from him. I think we'll actually, you know, I think you'll see a deeper lineup. The home runs will come. I don't think we'll steal as many bases, though. So we might be hopefully hitting more home runs, just not stealing as many bases. One more? Oh, little man, here we go.
What advice can you give to a young athlete trying to make it D1?
There we go, great question. He said, what can you give a young athlete that wants to make it to D1? Keep your head down and work. And the other thing is take care of your schoolwork, all right? Because you don't want your academics to limit where you can go, right? So again, work hard, right? Work hard in the classroom, work hard on the baseball field or whatever sport it is. And then by the time, and don't be in a hurry, right? Everybody wants to be the kid that's a freshman in high school that's committed here, committed there. Everybody develops at their own time. So don't be in a hurry. Just work hard and work at your skill and work at your craft. And everything else will take care of itself, whether it's in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you just keep working hard. Thanks for being here, buddy. What's your name?
Jack Penn.
Jack, where do you go to school, Jack? Awesome. Thanks for being here, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Kirk. Namesake, sharing the same name, awesome. That's why you're picking on me, I'm sure, because I had nothing to do with the A&M stuff. I don't know where that came from.
Didn't you whoop at me?
For TCU, I was like,
I thought he whooped at me.
No.
We're talking about TCU.
Oh, heck no.
So you're not an Aggie.
No.
See, I like you.
I'm a frog, buddy.
Who's an Aggie in here? I heard a whoop.
Oh, there's a bunch.
I thought you whooped at me. That's why I thought you were an Aggie.
Goodness, no.
That's my.
I thought you were, okay, no. Anyway, all right. So, Coach, you've seen Rotary, you know what we're about, but one of the big things Rotary does is we are in this massive fight to end polio. Back in the 80s, 250,000 people a year, new diagnosis, debilitating, horrible disease. Last year, because of Rotary's efforts, only 23 cases worldwide. Wow. Period. We are this close to ending it. In honor of your speaking here today, we are making a donation to the Rotary Polio Plus Fund in your name. Wow. Here's a memento of that. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And I don't know how much you gave in my honor, but I'd love to add on to that.
All right.
In honor of TCU baseball and being here today. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And that is awesome. All right, closing announcements. I'd like to thank our sponsor again, Orion Healthcare. Orion Healthcare Advisory provides legal, consulting, and business advisory services to physicians and healthcare facilities. The group primarily helps doctors monetize their practices, put my eyes on, by partnering with private equity firms. They also provide outside general counsel services to multiple healthcare providers and businesses. Thank you again to Orion Healthcare Advisory. And as always, we do have sponsorship opportunities available. If you're interested, see Tran Trong right over there. Next week, we have Leah Simonton, the United States Attorney from the Northern District of Texas. With that, I hope everyone here has a great weekend. This meeting is adjourned.
we had a decision to make. I think as a unit, we just came together and we played the ECU brand of baseball. Nothing that can really compete with that, and just from that point on, it's just been awesome. Just watching this team develop and the friendships that we've all had, the tightest group that we've been a part of, and it's just been a phenomenal group.
Well, if you're going to write a new script to the end of the season, it's got to start somewhere. Right center field, this ball's got a chance, and it is gone! A grand slam for Carson Bowen, and the Horned Frogs have taken the lead.
TCU reaches their first series victory in the last month or so. That'll be a big one for the confidence of TCU heading down the stretch. TCU does the job this weekend, picking up 3 more wins, and it sets up a big couple of weeks for TCU moving forward.
Long run for Boyers. Is he going to get there? He does as he makes a sliding catch. And TCU wins the series.
TCU for the second consecutive ball game run rules an opponent here in the Big 12 championship.
The Horned Frogs are the 2023 Phillips 66 Big 12 Conference Tournament champions.
The Horned Frogs sweep their way through the Fayetteville Regional.
For the first time since 2017, TCU is headed to the College World Series.
With the 19th pick in the 2023 MLB draft, the Tampa Bay Rays select Brayden Taylor from TCU.
Months ago, after we got swept by West Virginia, we had a decision to make. I think as a unit, we just came together and we played the TCU brand of baseball. Nothing that can really compete with that, and just from that point on, it's just been awesome. Just watching this team develop and the friendships that we've all had, the tightest group that I've ever been a part of, and it's just been a phenomenal group.
Well, if you're going to write a new script to the end of the season, it's got to start somewhere. Right center field, this ball's got a chance, and it is gone! A grand slam for Carson Bowen, and the Horned Frogs have taken the lead.
TCU clinches their first series victory in the last month or so. And that'll be a big one for the confidence for TCU heading down the stretch. And TCU does the job this weekend, picking up 3 more wins, and it sets up a big couple of weeks for TCU moving forward.
Long run for Boyers. Is he going to get there? He does as he makes a sliding catch. And TCU wins the series.
As TCU for the second consecutive ball game run rules an opponent here in the Big 12 championship.
The
Horned Frogs are the 2023 Phillips 66 Big 12 Conference Tournament champions.
The Horned Frogs sweep their way through the Fayetteville Regional.
Hello, Omaha! For the first time since 2017, TCU is headed to the College World Series.
With the 19th pick of the 2023 MLB Draft, the Tampa Bay Rays select Braden Taylor from TCU.